It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Williams Brothers Brewing Company and brewed for Aldi, and it's a can of their Cherry Baby Cherry Lager. The beer's coming in at 4.8% ABV in a 500ml can, or even, hold on, 440ml can. Without further ado, let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. In my local Aldi, this cost me £1.40 for the can, which I think is pretty decent for what you're paying for a can of craft beer these days. Let's just hope it's good. Let's hope that it's really, really good. So we got a 2 to 3 finger white head, slow moving carbonation. Looks like a lager, straw coloured lager. Not much. Now I really give it a bit of a rigorous pour there, and I was expecting to pick up quite a bit of cherry in the aroma. At this stage of the review, I'm thinking, is this a good thing or a bad thing? The reason being is that I think too much cherry could ruin the beer, but at the same time you want to be tasting quite a, not quite a bit, but a little bit of cherry, because it's indeed a cherry lager. You want a little bit of cherry in there. So let's get the aroma on the beer then. I've got a bit of a sore throat and stuff going on today, hence the slightly gruff voice. Ooh, it smells like tunes. Cherry tunes. Cough sweets, incidentally. Oh, blimey. I promise you I didn't, that was just complete coincidence. You do over 7,000 beer reviews on YouTube, and sometimes you will have a coincidence like that happen. You don't plan it, it just happens. Cherry tunes. I'm quite pleased with that. I'm quite pleased with that. You're only going to pick this beer up if you like cherry. If you're not a fan of cherry, the likelihood is you're not watching this review. The likelihood is that you haven't picked this beer up because you're just not interested because you don't like cherry. So you're here because you like cherry, and I'm glad that there's cherry in the aroma. Right, let's dive in. Cheers. Ooh. Now then. Ho, ho, ho. That's pretty full on. That is pretty. That's a full on. You're getting all the tannins from the cherry. You're getting the bitterness from the hops in the beer. Wow. They're not mucking about with this. Williams Brothers, they're not mucking about. They're not like... I think they've come under a bit of fire, Williams Brothers, for producing some rather mundane, boring beers for Aldi in the past, and they've actually maybe had to knuckle down a bit and produce something a bit half decent. It's obviously a long-term contract arrangement that they have with Aldi, because I think the amount of beers that they put out that have been really poor, I think Aldi would have ditched them by now unless they had a long-term contract. So maybe, in the world of business, this might be last chance saloon for Williams Brothers and Aldi's relationship if the contract's up for renewal. And have they redeemed it? Have they produced something interesting? Have they produced something worthy of calling this a cherry lager, and of course worthy of saving the agreement that they have in place? Yeah, I think a lot of people are like this. I do. I think a lot of people will pick this up and enjoy it and like it, especially if they're a fan of cherry tunes. At the same time, if I drank 4 cans of it, I'm not sure what type of headache I'd be expecting in the morning. I don't know. I just got a funny feeling with this that it might give you a bit of a stonker. It's very drinkable. It's very refreshing. It could be an ale. It could be an ale. I think they put that much cherry in that they've. It's a little difficult to pull any real lager flavours from this. I suppose you could say it's dry and crispy, but it's not massively dry and crispy. It's a little heavy in the body, which suggests that, you know, if you were telling me that this was a cherry pale ale, for argument's sake, I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't argue against that. I'd be in agreement. Yeah, this tastes like a cherry pale ale. At the same time, if you gave me a can of this and said it's a cherry lager, then I would agree with you. But I'd say the body is it's a little bit on the heavy side. It's a little bit. It's not crispy enough. It's not refreshing enough for a lager. It's drinking more of a medium body kind of ale, I think this is drinking as. And that might be the syrups. That might be the cherry syrups that they put in the beer. But that being said, going back to it, yeah, I mean, if you're a lover of cherry and you pick this up wanting loads of cherry in your beer, you're going to love this. You're going to love this. I don't mind it. I actually don't mind it at all. Cherry Baby is a bright, clear cherry lager. A backbeat of cherry fruit defies convention, while the Germanic ale yeast delivers an underlying body that is balanced by subtle hops. Simultaneous softness and snap, delivering a refreshing and utterly enjoyable drinking experience. There we go. That's a look at Williams Brothers Brewing Company's Cherry Baby Cherry Lager. I go into every beer review with a complete open mind. I don't carry previous beer reviews into another beer review, because that would be massively unfair to the brewer, and it would be absolutely massively unfair to the producer, which is in this case Aldi. Yes, in the past Aldi and Williams Brothers beers have not been great, but I've gone into this beer review with an open mind. And just to rate this, just to kind of just finish things off, there's a lot of good about this beer, there's a lot of not so good about this beer. But for the price point, the £1.40, you can't really argue. You cannot really argue with the price point for what you're getting in the glass. Nice lacing on the glass, slow moving carbonation, bit heavy for a lager in terms of mouthfeel. If they could maybe tweak that a little bit, I think they'd have a much better crispy lager. But then again, you might be messing about with the cherry syrups then. You may not put enough cherry syrup in, which I think is the cause of the too much body in the beer for a lager. I think for the price point, I think a 7 out of 10 is a pretty fair score. 7 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.